Oh my God, look at the crowd. Unbelievable. You know, it's great hope here. Hope for future of Lowell and future of the 3rd Congressional District. You know, you can't have a better candidate than Rufus Gifford. Really. When I first met him, he actually was really, I met him in Chelmsford, and actually he said coffee. I said, no. I want beer. It's more like a celebration, right? I mean, it's really early in the morning. Come on. But not early in the morning, at night with Ben. Rufus is not from Lowell. But look at the staff that Rufus surround himself with and the supporter. It's a low base that work on Rufus' campaign right now. You have somebody like Ben Motello, who's a district director for the Congresswoman Sonkers. He know Lowell better than most people. And that's who Rufus is surround himself with. Rufus' message is full of hope. He's one of those leaders with an optimistic, do something. He's a do something, not like, yell and scream at Trump. It's not going to get you anywhere. You have to have a message. You have to do something. I like things about Rufus is climate change. Like stand for American value here and abroad. That's why they get called America the leader of the world. He has those message, my friend. He has those message. He also has experience. As a former ambassador, diplomacy is very important this day in terms of talking to other leaders. And Rufus has all of that. And he know how to win. And he's around, believe it or not, I just told Professor Robert Ferran from UMass Lowell. He was shocked to hear that Rufus have all the fellow from Denmark, the Danish here. You know why? If somebody from Denmark believe in Rufus, why not us here in the 3rd District? Let me introduce you to the next congressman of the 3rd District, Rufus Gifford.
Oh boy. Wow. Vesna, thank you, my friend. Thank you. Boy, what a long journey it's been since those beers in Chelmsford, that freezing cold winter night. I look out at this crowd tonight, and I am a little choked up. There's no doubt about it. In the early days of this campaign, like when I first met Ben Martello about a year ago at Coffee and Cotton, which was my unofficial office was somewhere between Coffee and Cotton and Brewed Awakening for about 3 months, where I think I met so many people in this room for the first time. And so many old friends in this room tonight and so many new friends. And I am so grateful to every single one of you for coming out tonight and hearing a little bit about us in these closing days of this critically important campaign. So thank you. The first thing I got to do is thank the Rufus for Congress campaign second home, which is Warp and Weft. You all are working on your night off, so Elisa, Eric, Craig, and Christine, thank you all so much for coming in. We love you guys. We love you. Thank you. We all know on a campaign, the long hours, every once in a while, you need a cocktail at the end of the night, and we've taken full advantage of your services. We appreciate it so much. To our amazing musician, Andrew Marshall, here he is. Thank you so much for coming out tonight, truly. And again, all of our amazing supporters, both from Lowell, and I know a lot of people are coming in from around the 3rd District. I am so grateful. So thanks. Now what I'm going to do is I'll spend a little bit of time. I know we have some people who might not know me all that well, so I'll tell you a little bit about myself, talk to you a little bit about this campaign, where we are, and what we need to be doing in the next 15 days in order to win this thing. So first, look, I'm a Massachusetts boy through and through, went to Brown University. My father was a banker in Boston. I wanted to be anything but a banker in Boston. So I moved to Los Angeles to work in the entertainment industry. Frankly, I was a young gay kid trying to find his place in the world, trying to figure out his purpose in life, trying to figure out how to stand on his own 2 feet. I spent a good bit of my 20s falling on my face from time to time, failing and then picking myself back up. And then what happened? In 2004, I decided I was going to quit my job in the entertainment industry and walk into John Kerry's presidential campaign office and volunteer as an unpaid volunteer. That was my first job in politics. I truly believed that our politics couldn't get any worse or any more divisive than they were in 2004. Yeah, that's right. So I wanted to devote my life to try to elect our home state senator, John Kerry, president. And then in that moment, I realized what I was meant to do. It's that moment where what I call it is balancing my head and my heart. That for the first time in my life, I realized something that I was good at, and at the same time, it fired me up, made me want to get out of bed in the morning and actually make the world a better place. And from that point forward, I devoted my life to politics and public service. Then, fast forwarding a few years, January 3rd, 2007, a day that fundamentally changed my life. And that was the day that I met a young African-American senator named Barack Obama. Woo! Yes. I had about a 30-second conversation with then Senator Obama. And I knew in that moment that I was going to work for him. Not only did I love his politics, it was more than that. I felt like he could bring new people into the system. Young people, people of color, people who've been traditionally disenfranchised. And yes, a lot of you don't know me, but a lot of you do. And you also know that I'm an eternal optimist. And even in moments like this, I always want to believe in the best of the United States of America. And in that moment, I also wanted to believe in the best of the United States of America, and that is that even considering our history with race, that we could elect an African-American president with the middle name Hussein, when the rest of the world didn't believe we could do it. And I believed we could, and I remind ourselves now that we did that, and we did it twice. I didn't know that those 2 years working for Obama would turn into 10 years. But I worked for him, a great privilege of working for him for the first campaign and then all 8 years of his presidency. And then the last 4 was a great honor of having served overseas as the United States ambassador to the Kingdom of Denmark. And let me tell you a little bit about that, because it goes to why I am running. To be fully honest with you, I never thought I'd be standing in front of you in wonderful Lowell, Massachusetts, asking for your vote and support to be your next congressperson. But at this moment in American history, it's just too important for us all not to step up our level of service. And so this is where my journey began. On November 9th of 2016, I think we all remember where we were. I was still ambassador to Denmark. I was in Copenhagen, and this is the day that we learned, of course, that Trump was going to be elected president in the very early morning hours of November 9th of 2016. Now, I was hosting we were hosting a breakfast reception for 700 people to explain the results of the American election. Now, I had my Churchill quotes planned. I believed, like all of us, we thought that we were going to go from the first African-American president to the first woman president. And the legacy that I and so many of us had fought for over the course of our lives and careers was going to continue. And there I was, speechless. Put on my tie, went downstairs, and essentially saw a room that was a lot like this. And I looked around the crowd. And all I could see on people's faces, these are good friends of the United States, was fear and despair. And in that moment, I knew that I had to go home, that I had to step up my level of service. So we did. Stephen and I went home, and in November of last year, launched our campaign to hopefully be your next congressperson in the 3rd District of Massachusetts. Now, let me tell you, thank you. Let me tell you a little bit about this campaign. So when we launched, this congressional district, I call it gerrymandering at its best. It's a remarkable place. We have cities like Lowell, like Lawrence, like Fitchburg. We have suburbs like Andover, like Chelmsford, like Concord. And then we get to the west in Worcester County, and we have 900 family farms and a couple of ski mountains. The politics gets real like southern New Hampshire real fast when you get out into the western part of the district. So what did that mean for me and our amazing campaign team? It meant that we got in the car. Usually Phil Jeffroy and I got in the car. Go Phil, yes. The Lowell political wonderkind that is Phil Jeffroy. Got in the car and went to every single one of the 37 cities and towns in this remarkable congressional district. What did we do? We went coffee shop to coffee shop, diner to diner, living room to living room. We listened. We asked questions. We took notes, wanting to get a sense, a real human sense of what was going on in every single community throughout this remarkable district. And why does this matter so much? Well, the first part is, honestly, politicians don't do a good enough job at all of actually listening to their constituents. That's obvious. But listen, I would love to, but the stories that I have heard in both coffee shops and doors throughout this district over the course of the 9 months, they fire you up and break your heart at the same time. And it's those stories, those uniquely human stories that I bring with me if I am lucky enough to win this seat in a few months. And why? But why? So why also does this matter? It matters because there's this massive deficit of trust that exists between people and politicians, people and institutions, people and government. And if we are going to achieve the political agenda that I want to achieve, the first thing we have to do is build that trust back. And how do we do it? We do it one conversation at a time. We do it one person at a time, with handshakes, with eye contact, with conversation. And that is what we and this entire amazing campaign team have done over the course of the last 9 months. 2 more points. Look, I'm a former diplomat, and I truly believe that we need more diplomacy in politics. Now, that sounds a little bit like a political slogan, and maybe it is, but it's also so real. Now, it was my job for 4 years to sit around the table with 9 Danish political parties. 9. There's a far-right, xenophobic, anti-immigrant party. There is a far-left, former communist, anti-capitalist party. And it was my job to get everybody sitting around a table and try to get them to agree on everything from removing chemical weapons from Syria, global trade policies, climate agreements, all the rest. And that's what we need more of in Congress. We have 2 parties right now that retreat to their corners and tweet their rage at each other in order to score political points. And honestly, what we need to do is be willing to sit around the table together once again. Our state has a proud tradition of this. We come from a state where someone like Tip O'Neill had a famously good relationship with Ronald Reagan, or Teddy Kennedy having a famously good relationship with senators like Orrin Hatch, or even George W. Bush. You do not need to compromise your values in order to have conversations with people who maybe on paper look like they disagree with you. But you know what? I believe this, that I could sit across the table from any human being on the planet and figure out something that we agree on. We need to focus on what we agree on, not just what we disagree on. And lastly, I'll say this. Look, in this one, sometimes it might get a little controversial, because I wouldn't be running were Donald Trump not president of the United States. I believe that there is an assault on American values every single day coming from the White House. And that is where my core is. But you don't hear a ton of Trump bashing from me, and you don't hear a lot about Trump coming from our campaign. And why is that? It is simply because the Democratic Party, if we are going to recapture the hearts and souls of Americans, the hearts and souls of Americans that we have lost in many instances over the course of the last several years, the party needs to stand for something and not just against something. We need to present a big and a bold and a hopeful and an aspirational agenda that people can get fired up about, that can inspire people. We need to talk about Medicare for all. We need to talk about aggressive climate resolutions. We need to talk about student loan reform. We need to talk about a big infrastructure spending bill. We need to talk about immigration reform on issue after issue after issue. We cannot just stand against the Republican Party. We have to convince Americans that we are standing for them. And that is the kind of policy agenda that you're going to see us pursue on this campaign. And so listen, look, everybody, listen. If you like this message of presenting a future for Americans that's real, that's tangible, that's aspirational, and that's positive, focusing on the best of what we are and what we could be, taking a page from presidents like Franklin Delano Roosevelt, John F. Kennedy, and Barack Obama. That's what I want to be doing here. And that's the kind of campaign that I want to run. And look, in the last 15 days, we need your help if you are willing. We are going to be knocking on doors. We probably knocked on all of yours. Most of the district we've knocked on 3 or 4 times. Last 2 weeks ago, the campaign knocked on 10,000 doors. I did 1,000 of them myself. This is how we win. But to get us over the finish line, we need a team unlike any other team in a congressional primary before. And I am a huge believer in team. A huge believer in teams. So please, if you are willing to take a couple hours out of your day, any time between now and September 4th, to make phone calls, to knock on doors, to talk to your neighbors, to host another event, we need you. We want you. And I hope that with this team, it'll get us across the finish line. And thank you. And to our amazing staff and fellows, led by Ben Martello. And look, I look, and there are days that I come back from a really long day. There's maybe a bad press article, some nastiness coming at me in a variety of different directions. And I walk down, and I walk onto 175 Merrimack Street into the Old Wells Emporium on, a Wednesday night. And I see, 50 kids, mostly, people who have taken a summer out of their college or high school to spend time making phone calls for us, being hung up on 9 times out of 10, and still coming back day after day after day. You fire me up like nothing else. You inspire me more than anything else. And thank you. Thank you. Thanks for doing all you did. And I hope, honestly, I hope that I win this one for all of you. And I have to close with a special announcement because I've forgotten to acknowledge someone in the room. And that is my amazing husband, Stephen DeVincent. He ordered me not to do this, but today, first of all, he's a veterinarian. He's amazing. He's way cooler and smarter than I am. He's just a little bit more of an introvert. So he does it, what? And he looks younger than me. There's no doubt about it. But today is his birthday. So we're going to sing happy birthday to him, if you don't mind, in closing the night. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Stephen. Happy birthday to you. Woo! We all know what you're wishing for. Love you all. Thank you so much. Thanks for hearing me out. I'm here, so we'll continue the conversations. So if you have any questions about more specific policy issues, I promise you I'm here all night. We didn't think it made sense to take question and answer now, but thank you so much. Come up, ask me whatever questions are on your mind. That's what this is all about. Thank you.